How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Excellent.
Absolutely fine.
Good stuff.
It is Saturday.
It is.
Weather's not too bad. It's quite
No,
bright outside. It's not raining for a change.
it is. It is good.
Hello, and welcome to the Deja Review.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Trev.
Every episode we'll be discussing a movie that's had a remake, reboot, do-over or reimagining.
We're talking The Italian Job, Point Break, Roadhouse, The Blob, The Magnificent Seven.
So sit back, relax, and we'll take you on a journey of discovery about some iconic and not so iconic movies.
Two long-time friends, one podcast. This is the Deja Review.
On this episode of the Deja Review, we're getting our memories back and talking about Total Recall. So yes, Total Recall, my friend. A synonymous Arnie film from the 1990s.
Yeah, there was a spate of them. The late 80s, early 90s all had sort of more or less an interchangeable plot of some sort, wasn't it?
Yeah, interchangeable plot with the same actors in it.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
also, to a point, the same director. I think there's a couple of things in here that have got together quite nicely for us. Certain directors, certain actors, and yeah, I think this is the meeting of minds, this one is.
It could well be.
Let's get on with it. Do you want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll go first, mate. Total Recall, released in July 1990, distributed by TriStar Pictures. Estimated budget 65 million, estimated box office 261 million. Screenplay by Ronald Shusett, Dan O'Bannon, and Gary Goldman. Story by Ronald Shusett, Dan O'Bannon, and John Povil. Based on We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, or Verhoeven, however you want to pronounce it. We know him from RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Hollow Man, and Basic Instinct. Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 81%. Audience score, 79%. And a cast of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rachel Tickerton, Sharon Stone, Ronnie Cox, and Michael Ironside. Mark, give us a synopsis, mate.
When a man goes in to have virtual vacation memories of the planet Mars implanted into his mind, an unexpected and harrowing series of events forces him to go to the planet for real. Or is he?
Dun, dun, dun.
So, mate, what do you think of this film?
Yeah, it's a little nostalgia one for me. It's Arnie when he was at his best. You knew what you were getting from an Arnie film.
Yep.
As we said, it was sort of like you want an action film, cut and paste Arnie in it somewhere, and there we go. There, you've got your film. And it's one of those films in the genre where he more or less took the mickey out of himself in Last Action Hero for these kind of films. So yeah, it was good fun. What about you? What?
Oh, I think it was a brilliant film. Absolutely fantastic film. It's, if you can say one era of, I think, 90s films, actors and 90s films, I think this is it. This is an amalgamation of people that were really, really hot between 85 and 95, squeezed into one film. Because you've got Arnie, you've got Sharon Stone, you've got Ronnie Cox, you've got Michael Ironside. 4 out of the 5 people that we've mentioned so far.
But you've got to think, Sharon Stone wasn't huge by this point. She hadn't done Basic Instinct with Verhoeven by now.
But that's the thing. That's why I'm saying between 85 and 95, these people were hot property. You know, even the person I didn't realise who was in this film until I saw it again for the umpteenth time is Dean Norris playing Tony in the bar, the mutant where he's got one eye covered over. He's been in tons of stuff. I did not recognise him until I went, hang on a minute, I just recognise that kind of nose, jaw, chin line. What's going on?
It's the voice as well, more than anything.
And it's the voice.
Yeah. Again, he wasn't huge by then. He hadn't done Breaking Bad. He hadn't done Under the Dome and many other films and TV series that he's been in. But yeah, he's one of those character actors that have been in so much stuff. And then you go, oh yeah, he was in that. Oh yeah, he was in that as well.
And there's a hell of a lot of these actors that have been in Star Trek, Next Generation, Voyager, or DS9.
Yeah.
You know, you could sit there and I could probably name about 7 or 8 actors in this film that have been in that series. And it's just like, bloody hell.
Well, there's 2 major ones, isn't there, anyway, in this film? You've got...
Go on, who are you thinking?
I've got Robert Picardo doing the voice of
Yep.
the taxi driver. And then
Yep.
you've got Golda Kat as well.
Yeah, who else?
Oh, let me think. Well, Ronnie Cox was obviously in Star
Yep.
Trek a few times.
As I said, between 85 and 95, I think this is a lot of very famous now actors have just turned up. Either it's their early appearances of them or it's one of their most well-known films that they've done.
Yeah.
But also, from a V fan myself, it was Mickey Jones's cameo as well, where he's just looking out the window at Mars and Arnie talks to him.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what's that?
You mean the pyramid mine? I used to work there till they found that alien shit inside.
Well, that's a rumor, isn't it?
Think so.
Now, the book, what it's based on, this version is the closest one to the book.
Yeah.
Because the book is Mars. You know, it's pretty much exactly the same basis that happens in this and in the book for Philip K. Dick, rather than the way things swing around in the remake.
It's a typical Philip K. Dick book, which can be heavy going sometimes.
Oh, yeah, they can.
But basically, they take what they seem to have done with a few of his books is they've taken the basic idea and then made more of a flourish of it, I'll say. Because some of his writing is very dry, is very, very dry and very long-winded. For short stories, some of his short stories are, you could have got to that point a hell of a lot quicker than you did. I'm not sure there wasn't certain substances when he was writing some of his stuff because you read it and go, what the hell was going through this guy's mind? But yeah, because the second one, which we'll get to in a minute, has nothing to do with Mars at all.
No, it's just utilising some of the character names and dynamics.
Yeah.
And more than anything, just the total recall situation.
Which is pretty much why they don't mention him as, based on the book of.
No, exactly.
It's based on the idea of the original film.
Yeah. There has been a hell of a lot of his books changed into films, whether or not it's the actual like for like. So we'll take the name of the book and put it into a film, or we'll just take something out of the book and actually just put it through.
Yeah. Especially after a writer passes away, it becomes a bit of a free-for-all for their work. Yes. And also it's a great selling tool for the books because, like, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Straight away you put Blade Runner on the cover and people are buying it left, right and centre and then going, well, it's very different from the film. The first time I read it was, it was called Blade Runner, but the book inside is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
There's a lot of Philip K. Dick books that have been transferred into really good films.
I'd go as far to say there's been a lot of Philip K. Dick books that have been translated into films. I wouldn't say really good films because some of them really aren't good films. But this was a better one. It's not going to beat my favourite, which is always going to be Blade Runner.
But no, exactly.
There was only very small bits that were taken from the story to the book.
What you got for the film itself? I had to laugh at an early sequence, I'll tell you that much.
What was the bit that made you laugh?
The building site.
I've got a little thing about that as well. Let's see if it's the same
all the
thing.
jackhammers that are going on. Everyone's going dagga, 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 with a jackhammer. Everyone around them is wearing hard hats and ear defenders, except for Arnie and his mate, who are just talking across to each other.
I've got here everybody using PPE when using the Kango, apart from Arnie and Harry.
Yeah, I did sit there and think, really? Are you taking the piss now?
Yeah. And how hard was Arnie gripping that to make sure every muscle was sort of like bulging out? It was almost like when he does the arm wrestle in Predator with Carl Weathers. Yeah.
How much was it for the package to be a secret agent and the trip?
Oh, I don't know. Go on, tell me.
Well, it was 800 credits for the trip and 300 credits for the secret agent package.
So 1,100 credits total.
Yeah.
The only thing I've found watching this film from a more modern viewer, that some of the green screen special effects were very ropey. The screen,
Yeah, agreed.
although there was some really good stuff. The X-ray machine, to
Mhm.
me, still holds up really well. And I know it's sort of like an animation that's been put on there, but like
But
the
it still
TV
holds up,
screens,
yeah.
the TV screen showing stuff in the background, or
Mhm.
when you're looking through the windows and you've got the outline is so
Yeah.
obvious, and it's just, whether it's because, you know, the later versions have been cleaned up and more HD than, you know, the original version, that it didn't notice as much. But, you know, from a modern viewer now, you just think that looks a bit crap. It does
Well, you've
look
got the other,
B
yeah.
movie, doesn't it? You look at B movies now.
Yeah. Well, it was Rob Bottin that did the special effects makeup for this.
Yeah. And they're really good. You think of all of my...
They are good. There's a couple that don't hold up.
Yeah, maybe the three boobs for a start look very fake.
No, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking the sequence where he's getting the bug out of his nose.
Yeah, the taking the head off the woman.
Have you brought any fruits or vegetables onto the planet?
2 weeks.
Excuse me?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the two that seriously do not hold up. But the actual physical makeup effects on everyone else like that stands up really well.
Yeah, the makeup effects, that the ones that look a bit dodgy they're really sort of like stop motion, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what makes it look more dodgy, because it's not quick. They're actually quite long sequences for a stop motion where your main actor is face on with you. I think that's why it looks ropier. You've got to think, when people use a prosthetic head, for example,
Yeah.
like if someone has it, you see it for a quick flash. It's not for a long animated scene where this was. I think that's why that looks ropier. But the special effects on basically all the mutants was really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
And so many
Absolutely
variations
fantastic.
of different mutations going on. But yeah, the animation, that X-ray machine animation, was really, really good. And when they blend it with the live action, where he's running through, and also where he shatters through the glass, you see him actually turn face and run towards it. I just think that's done really well.
Yeah.
That would hold up nowadays.
Great. Yeah, it would do.
This was sort of like an early role for Sharon Stone, and
Yes.
it was pretty much because I think her role was supposed to be bigger than it was, and I think there was too much between her and Melina, so it was sort of like, right, we're going to kill you off early, and the compromise on that was, I want you to work in my next film, which was Basic Instinct then, which was a good compromise for her, because really that's the film that shot her to fame, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, agreed. Completely agreed.
Yeah. Certain parts of her more than others. He says, crossing
have a
his legs
question
and
for you.
uncrossing them again.
Yeah, crossing and uncrossing. Yeah, the whole Beaver sequence from, was it Naked Gun?
It
or
was
was
Loaded Weapon, wasn't
Loaded Weapon? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Loaded Weapon. I love Loaded Weapon. I think it's a fantastic film. It's just hilarious.
Where am I?
You're in a Johnny Cab.
I mean, what am I doing here?
I'm sorry. Would you please rephrase the question? Huh?
How did I get in this taxi?
The door opened. You got in.
Johnny Cab.
Yes. I do have a question about the Johnny Cab.
Go on, then.
So it's a fully automated cab. You just get in, tell the Johnny Cab driver where to go, and off you go. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why has it got a joystick? Why does it need a joystick in there? If it's a fully automated driving vehicle, it shouldn't need a joystick. Yeah, but it did make me laugh, and it was sort of like, there we go, a nice joystick there. Quickly grab hold of that.
Quick shot joystick.
Quick shot 2, wasn't it? I think it was. It looked more like a quick shot 2 than a quick shot 1. God, we're showing our ages now, aren't
People that don't understand what we're talking about right at this precise moment.
Yeah. I was just going to say, they like a red filter, don't they, when just to prove you're actually on Mars. So the
Yeah.
thing is, it's not the only Hollywood film to do it. It's sort of like, let's make this as orange and red as possible to prove you're on another planet. And yeah,
Didn't NASA try and do that at one point?
they did seem to go a little bit over the top in this one there. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the red planet. Let's make it bright red.
Yeah.
There were a few things that made me laugh. The stunt doubles for the Sharon Stone and Melina fight was,
Yeah.
they were obviously blokes.
Yeah.
It was just laughable the way they just sort of like, you see them and they're sort of there like this, going backwards and forwards, sort of as though they can, and then all of a sudden they'll start to move and then quick pan shots and so, and it was so obvious it was two totally different people swinging punches, sort of like where the hair was sort of nice and neatly back, where even though they're fighting while they're still facing each other, but then of course the hair's got to cover most of the face, and I'm sure there was a beard somewhere. I'm not sure. I did keep watching it a couple of times, but I'm sure there was a beard. One bit that had me in stitches, when they're chasing Quaid through the airport and he's going up the escalator, and that poor guy he uses as the human shield, so from the front, turns him around from the back, from the front, from the back. It's almost, I'm wondering if Ryan Reynolds got that idea for using Nice Paul as a human shield, because it just felt like that. It didn't matter how many times he was getting shot, he just kept throwing this poor bloke in front of him. And Richter, he didn't seem to care where he was shooting, who he was shooting. After Quaid gets on the subway train and it shoots off, he's still shooting into the train, even though the carriage that he was in has already gone. But just keep firing a couple more times.
It's just pure Michael Ironside.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the frustration, isn't it? More.
Yeah.
He's showing the frustration that Richter would have had, I think.
Yeah.
I want that fucker dead.
I don't blame you, man. I wouldn't want a guy like Quaid porking my old lady.
You saying she likes it?
No, I'm sure she hated every minute of it.
I just think that guy is just brilliant.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the best actors in this movie.
He formed a really strong bond with Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Because for anyone who doesn't know the story, he kept disappearing off, didn't he, from the set? When
Michael Ironside did, yeah.
And
he was constantly on the phone.
People couldn't realise, or didn't realise why. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger asked him, why he was disappearing all the time and why he was on the phone all the time. And he explained to him that his sister, was it cancer?
Had cancer.
Yeah,
it was cancer.
His sister had cancer. So he actually got on the phone with her as well and started to sort of say, well, these are the things you need to eat. This is what you need to do to try and, help yourself through it all and stuff like that. And that meant so much to Michael Ironside that they formed a really, really strong bond after that.
Yeah, it was an hour-long three-way conversation that was had.
Yeah,
on the
he
phone.
was supposed to be on set, wasn't he? And it ended up that he ended up staying in the trailer with Michael Ironside. But yeah, they just chatting about diet and things like that, just to try and help her as much as he could.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
I had to laugh at the end point with the hologram sequence.
Yes.
So they're all shooting at him and he falls down. Why did they not shoot each other at that point? But yet, a little while on, they actually did do the whole, let's shoot. Oh no, we shot each other because it was a hologram.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the physics on that just didn't work at those precise moments.
But even if there was someone there, you still wouldn't go over because of the chances of a rogue shot coming through and shooting one of your own people. When you first see that hologram watch, it's basically a mirror of the other of the person with the watch.
Yeah.
So you're telling me he's standing there laughing like that, and he was going, "No, I'm not the real one." But then he steps out, but the actual animation doesn't move at all. It's sort of like you've just sort of like defeated your whole object of what you were trying to achieve earlier on.
Yeah. Question. With all the horrificness that actually happened at the end, where they're suffocating.
Yes.
How did they survive that?
I don't know. Bearing in mind how quickly all the others, when they're outside and they go, la, 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 la. Although that's a different, but that's a different atmosphere, isn't it? There would still be air or oxygen in the air until it's all used up. But yeah, it did seem to go on. But Cohaagen was quite happy to commit genocide there, wasn't he?
He was.
Really wasn't that bothered. And if you think about it, it's lucky that when they set the alien machine, it blew all the windows out. Otherwise, they still would have been inside suffocating. Can you imagine it? All that air outside and they're inside going...
Yeah. Arnie and Melina.
Well,
how did they survive?
Is they all go out at exactly the same time, but Ronny Cox, you don't know what happened to him because it's sort of like they're all going with the bulging faces and eyes, and then you see them two get better. But Ronny Cox could still be alive somewhere. Cohaagen's, you never actually see Cohaagen die.
Nope. Brain damage slightly, at least.
But I did like the visual comparison when the fish tank gets destroyed and they're on the floor, the fish are on the floor gasping for air, and then it cuts to the sector G, isn't it? I think the area cuts to there where they're struggling for breath as well. I did like that comparison between the two. That was nicely done.
That was cool. Right, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Was this a dream?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay, why? What gives you the thoughts that it's not a dream?
Because I don't think it is. Although the whole plot of the film, it is ruined in the first 10 minutes, isn't it?
Mm.
It pretty much, I think it's when he's at recall, isn't it?
You are a top operative, back under deep cover on your most important mission. People are trying to kill you left and right. You meet this beautiful, exotic woman.
Go on.
I don't want to spoil it for you, Doug. But you rest assured, by the time the trip is over, you get the girl, kill the bad guys, and save the entire planet. Now you tell me, isn't that worth a measly 300 credits?
Ernie, patch in Matrix 62B 37. And would you like us to integrate some alien stuff?
Sure, why not? Two-headed monsters?
Don't you keep up with the news? We're doing alien artifacts now.
It's wild.
Yeah, they date back 1,000,000 years.
Yeah, I don't think it was because there was, if you think about it as well, there's too many scenes where Arnie's not in it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, how would he have seen any of that as well? So yeah, I think it was reality.
Should we move on to the remake?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so this is also called Total Recall, released August 2012, distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Estimated budget, 125 million. Estimated box office, 198 million. Screenplay by Kurt Wimmer, and for the second time on the trot, unexpectedly, is Mr. Mark Bombach, who also did the screenplay for Race to Witch Mountain. Directed by Len Wiseman, who you'll know from The Ballerina, Die Hard 4.0, and Underworld. Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 30%. Audience score, 47%. And a cast, Colin Farrell, Kate Beckinsale, Jessica Biel, Bryan Cranston. Trev, what's the synopsis on this one?
A factory worker, Douglas Quaid, begins to suspect that he is a spy after a visit to recall goes wrong and he finds himself on the run.
So, the remake with Colin Farrell.
Yep.
Secret agent, that's you, right? Clandestine bank accounts, coded messages.
Secret agent, I could do that.
Yeah, as an intelligence operative. You could be working for the Resistance. Ooh, maybe you work for Cohaagen. Or why limit yourself? Why not both?
I thought the upgrade on technology was good.
Yeah, it reminded me too much of iRobot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That sort of thing.
As far as I remember, it's Patrick Tatopoulos that did a lot of the world building for this one.
Yeah.
I like Patrick Tatopoulos. I think he's absolutely fantastic. You know, the guy is, in my opinion, an absolute legend and needs to be up there with the Rob Bottin's and everyone else like that.
The thing I found with this was it seemed as though they stole little ideas from other bits and pieces, like the flying cars and the fight through the flying cars just had Star Wars Episode 2 off the top of my head. It
had Blade Runner.
Yeah, there was
Fifth Element, Blade Runner.
No, I mean the fight sequence on the flying cars. That was just there was just too much.
Minority Report as well.
Yep. But there didn't seem to be anything too original in this whole film. And the plot to me, seemed very convoluted. At
Yeah,
least you knew what was going on in the original. It was he's selling everybody air. He doesn't want this machine to actually start producing air naturally because he'll start losing money.
With this one, it's just a political drama.
But it's so confusing. It's like they've added lots more characters.
Got rid of characters and mixed other characters in with their storyline.
Well, the Kate Beckinsale character, she's more or less a mixture of Laurie and Richter. And then Harry is Harry and Richter as well. It seems like they split the Richter character between a couple of them. But yeah, it just seems so convoluted. I remember the first time I watched it, I went, that was so hard to understand. It just didn't, even now, it's sort of like it's not overly clear of what's what. And I didn't think the storytelling was great on this one at all. Also, I know it's supposed to be a not post-apocalyptic world, but a world where things have gone wrong, let's say. But the whole thing could have been filmed in black and white. The only bits of real colour seem to be when he's going to recall. And again, it's that futuristic Blade Runner stealing idea of, it's the future. So it's
got to be dramatically.
It's all got to be. It's all got to be neon. Everyone's got to be walking around with these Japanese style umbrellas. Everything's sort of like a Chinatown sort of feel. It's like, I don't understand why whenever they have the future, it's always got to look like that. The downtown area.
Fifth Element again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the rest of it could have quite easily been black and white. Everyone's wearing white. All the backgrounds are very white, black and grey. And also, it didn't look like it was filmed very well. It all looked very grainy.
Yeah.
So when you've got like the high action sequences, to me, there was too much on the screen. And there wasn't the colours to actually define what was going on. It was...
Everything just looked like a
blur.
No, what I was going to say was Mega City 1.
No.
Everything was on top of each other and all kind of tied and intermingled, and everything was the same colour. So therefore, then you couldn't tell the individual little details.
It wasn't that. It was when everything was going so fast that it was really hard to distinguish stuff. But even just sort of like, when they're panning on Kate Beckinsale, which I've got no problem with. Kate Beckinsale is stunningly gorgeous. So I've as much screen time as she wants. But it just felt grainy. And I expected all these androids to, like in iRobot, they pop. The robots, they really pop out of the screen there. Again, they just sort of seem to blend into the background most of the time. And it just didn't seem to be filmed very well.
There are some arguments on this could have been filmed better, and it may have actually resulted in higher scores. I can't say the acting was too bad.
But do you see Bryan Cranston as the main bad guy in?
No,
it just wasn't really that intimidating. I know by this point he'd already done.
Still Malcolm's dad in this, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. Malcolm's dad with a better suit. He wasn't, he's more menacing in Breaking Bad. The only one that seemed to have any menace was Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Wake up, honey, wake up.
For the love of criminy, what is it? What's the matter?
I just had the scariest dream.
I told you not to eat those deep-fried Twinkies.
No, you don't understand.
Oh. If you think that this nightmare is going to keep you from driving the kids to school this morning, you have another think coming.
I haven't told you the scariest part.
Okay, what? You got 2 minutes.
I made bombs and poison and I killed people.
Oh, come on. You could not kill somebody.
I know.
Also, the London side of things. You know, at the end of the day, you only realised it was London when you went down to the lower levels and you saw Big Ben, House of Parliament, blah, 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 blah. There was no kind of... You couldn't tell it was London because everyone didn't have an English accent. It was all kind of very, very mixed American accents and everything else like that. And it was just like, hang on, where is this set? And then all of a sudden he crash lands on the ground after doing the maglock thing and it's in London. It was like, where the fuck did that come from?
And
I know it lays it up early on that you've got the two factions, one the London faction or Great Britain, whatever it is. But it was just like nothing was Great Britain about it until the point where he actually landed.
Yeah. But then even the trains, the underground trains, for us living in the UK, we blatantly knew they weren't British trains. The stations were definitely not British station, but it was filmed in Canada, that's why.
Yeah.
But you could have at least made it look a bit more like London.
Yeah.
My other problem with this, well, it's not a problem, but it's... So you've got the Laurie and Melina characters in this as well. The thing is, Jessica Biel and Kate Beckinsale look so much like each other.
Yeah.
At least in the original, there's the contrast between Sharon Stone and Rachel Ticotin. Here, they just look so similar. Okay, fair enough. You could make the argument that they implanted someone who actually looked like the Jessica Biel character, so there wasn't the crossover, but he was dreaming of Jessica Biel anyway. Which,
before it all happened.
Yeah. But yeah, they were just too close to me.
Yeah. See, the thing that made me laugh, you know, later on in the film, right at the end, where he goes,
"There's no scar on your hand,"
and realises that he's trying to be taken out by Kate Beckinsale's character. Early on, when Jessica Biel saying,
You recognize me.
From a dream. I recognize you from a dream.
It wasn't a dream. It was a memory. That scar on your hand, how do you think you got it? Do you know?
I got it at work.
I was trying to help you escape, but I was too late. You grabbed onto me, and a bullet tore through your hand and mine.
The prosthetic patch where the bullet hole isn't there.
Yeah.
She's got a completely smooth hand, and it was just like, did they accidentally just leave that off? Or am I just not seeing it with the quality of the footage that I've got here? But I think there were some great elements to it, don't get me wrong. I thought the whole fight sequence in the cubes was good, so the lifts, should we say. I thought the whole chase sequence with the cars was good. I thought the shootout sequence early on, just before the lift stuff, that was good. There was so many elements of the original book and the original film in it, but taken to the most extreme edge of when you'd go, oh yeah, that's a reference.
Yeah.
You know, you got the same fight. The whole scenario set up between him and his wife, fake wife, is there. It's exactly the same in the book. It's exactly the same in the original film. You know, the new person implanted into their head being should we say, a rebellion person.
Yeah, freedom
that's
fighter.
there. That's from there. You know, that's the premise is still there. But then you take it away from being Mars, you take it away from, which is the book and the original Arnie film, to keeping it just on Earth. There's a mention of Mars in there. Yeah, great. Well done.
Hey, what do you know about recall?
That mind altering shit?
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor, Doug. Stay away from them.
Why is that?
Remember Travis from Shift 3?
Travis.
Went to recall for his bachelor party. Wanted to be king of Mars or some shit.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Mars.
Got himself a bunch of mines.
But it now grounds it as an element there, which I don't think worked.
Yeah, there was tiny little nods, like you say about the elevator fight.
Yeah.
Where the android's there hanging on and he gets his arms chopped, which is exactly the same way that Richter dies in the original one.
Exactly.
So there was tiny little nods, but like I say, everything, so pretty much everything you've said there, this was good, this was good, this was good. We've seen it all before.
Yeah.
There was
the
nothing.
nod to the 2 weeks woman. I thought that was good, but that was just, yeah.
And there's a major, major plot hole in this.
Go on in.
So one of the first things they tell you in this film is that after everything that's happened, you know, the rest of the world is pretty much screwed. So the only means of transport anywhere is the fort. Yeah?
Yeah.
So these freedom fighters are trying to stop everything and trying to, you know, blow up the tunnel.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to get anyone coming through. Just blow up the tunnel. Not just...
Yeah, it's a simple fact.
Yeah. You do that, job done.
That's all they should have done. They're terrorists. They should have just completely destroyed that tunnel, and that's it. You know, it shouldn't have taken to the point where you've got him in the film this further on, blah, 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 to do that. Also, in comparison to the original and this one, so Arnie, brain wiped, still looks like Arnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've gone the whole hog in this to completely make him up to be a completely different person.
Yeah, totally change his face because he's Ethan Hawke, isn't he, really?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gone from Ethan Hawke into Mr. Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
But to me, was that a wasted effort?
They've also changed his whole build as well, miraculously.
Yes, yeah, exactly. In quite a short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that bit was a bit crappy. I did like the whole key scenario. Yeah, that was a good element.
The bit which did make me chuckle, which I liked as a nod to the original, is the bit where you know he's in disguise and you see this big woman in a yellow coat and you think, that's who it is, that's who it is. And it's just a red herring thrown in there. But I like that as a little nod because you're automatically expecting it to be that woman. And it's not. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way they've done that.
Agreed. Yeah, I enjoyed that bit. But there's lots of bits in here that I think are good. Majority of it, not good.
So would you like some stats and errors?
Yeah, come on then. Show me your stats and errors.
Right, here we go. So the fall, it has to travel from one side of the world to the other.
Yep.
Basically, if you drop straight down from London, you'd come out in the ocean somewhere near New Zealand, not actually in Australia. And if you was going the other way, you're somewhere near the Azores in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But let's just say they did dig a hole straight down, tunneled it. To travel that distance in 17 minutes, they would have had to have travelled at 28,000 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's surviving that kind of speed through the centre of the Earth.
Especially when they get outside later on in the film. Yeah.
They say it takes 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a point where they make two errors. As they're boarding the fall, near the beginning of the film, there's an announcement that comes over and it says,
"All passengers, please report to your designated gates. This is the final boarding call for the 7:15 departure."
And then they board the fall and it says, time of departure, 1:35. When they've just announced it was 7:21. And then it says on there, so time of departure, 01:35, time of arrival, 01:42. That must have been the express one because that got there in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone didn't know their maths very well in this one.
It definitely sounds like it.
Yeah, there was some sort of stuff that didn't quite work out time-wise.
It's an action film. It's enjoyable action film.
It's just the stories.
They should have not called it Total Recall. They should not have put certain elements into there, and you would have had a decent film. Without the Total Recall elements,
I don't think it would have.
Without the Total Recall elements, would you needed to call it Total Recall, and would they have made any difference to take those elements out?
I think if you hadn't have called it Total Recall, it wouldn't have done anywhere near as well as at the box office, and it didn't do fantastic as it is.
Didn't do well in the first place. Yeah.
No, exactly. I think a lot of that viewership was because of the name. If you just I think the plot is so awful.
You think about what we said in regards to the original film. You got a 10-year window between 5 years before, 5 years after that film was made, that you've got these people were in their prime. Can't say that about any people in this film, really.
Not really. Most of the people in this film were at pretty much the height. Colin Farrell had done quite a few films around this time. Beckinsale was
Training
big.
Day.
Bill Cranston, all of them, they're big names.
Mm. But I think, again, this might be a blot on their CV.
Yes, I think it might be.
So is that it for this film?
Yeah, for me it is, definitely.
Yeah.
One I'm not overly looking forward to watching again in the future. It'll be a few years before I watch it.
Fair enough. So let's go for it. So we're looking at the lead actors, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Colin Farrell.
Actually, right. It's actually quite a tough one because I still think Colin Farrell acted really well in this. It was just a garbage story.
Yep.
Arnie could have phoned this in. It's just typical Arnie with his which he always has to have in a film where he's being strangled or wrestled around with. But I'm just very slightly going to give it to Arnie.
Oh, I know what you mean. I think, the storylines being different, the way the acting is done, completely different. And I do agree with you that the better actor out of the two was Colin Farrell. But I think the better film actor out of the two in the film relationships is Arnie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day now, so Laurie's, Kate Beckinsale or Sharon Stone?
Again, well, I'm going to give it to Kate Beckinsale, mainly because her character is a bit more well-rounded.
Yeah.
She's got more to do, but then, as we've said, that's because it's Laurie and Richter in one. Don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with Sharon Stone's performance. It was great, but I'm just slightly going to give it to Kate Beckinsale.
Fair enough, I agree with you. Rachel Tickerton or Jessica Biel for Melina?
This is a tough one because I don't think either of the performances were outstanding, but for
believability,
well, maybe not even believability. I think because of the film, I'm going to go for Rachel Tickerton, but again, slightly.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's difficult to work out between the two of them, but I think there was more emotion in Jessica Biel's role, so I think you saw more of an acting ability from Jessica Biel in this film. So I'm going to go Jessica Biel. Cohaagen, Ronny Cox or Bryan Cranston?
For me, Ronny Cox.
I agree with you on that one.
He plays a good bad guy. That's a contradiction in itself.
He plays a good bad guy and a bad good guy.
Yeah. He plays the main antagonist really well.
Yeah. I think the lead between Verhoeven's leading from him in RoboCop, being the bad guy in that, into being the bad guy in this, pretty much as we said in RoboCop, most of Ronny Cox's other characters, he was a safe hands character, all nicey. And then obviously the decent role he had in Beverly Hills Cop. And then you've got RoboCop and this, where he's just gone asshole mode.
Yeah. It's just smarmy businessman who thinks of money more than anything else. And, like I said, as I said earlier, he's not afraid to commit genocide as well.
No, he's not.
Bryan Cranston just wasn't that believable as like this really evil, mean guy. And it's Ronny Cox for me all the time.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Definitely Ronny Cox on this one. Right. Which film would you prefer? The original or the remake?
Definitely the original.
Agreed.
I'd watch the original again, not just for the nostalgia, but it's just more fun, a better storyline. You can shut your mind off and watch it and just enjoy the film. Where, I don't think you can. Really.
Says me with the poster behind me as well. Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I think the original is still, it outshines the remake completely.
Yeah.
Right, 5-1. We decided to do a 5-1, and we both enjoy this actor. This actor has been in a shitload of stuff that we've really had to struggle to whittle it down to 5 enjoyable ones and 1 bad one.
Yep, and I was still doing mine about an hour ago.
Yep, and that actor is Mr. Michael Ironside, who I have met, and he is a really nice guy in real life as well. So, yeah. I appreciated meeting him. So, right, come on. 5-1 on Michael Ironside. Let's go first with your honourable mentions.
Okay, so my honourable mentions are this film, Total Recall, Sequest DSV, where he took over the captain
From Roy
role.
Schneider.
And my other one is, it was a film where they tried to jump on the Star Wars bandwagon a little bit, and it's Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. It's awful. It
is awful.
Really bad. But yeah, I really enjoy, every time I watch it. I don't watch it that often, but every time I do, I really enjoy it because it is so not bad, but it's just so stupid.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah, I think so.
You got any others?
I could have gone down a no. I just decided to whittle it down to just a few. There's lots of other stuff, like he's been in so many TV series that I love.
Yeah.
Where it's just been one episode here, 2 episodes there, but it was like, no, I'm just going to try and wind it down. Like you said, well, at work, because I forgot my notes, I left them at work. I pretty much had an A4 page where I cross one out and then write another one in and then change it. It changed so many times.
No, I had a 10-0 at one point.
Yeah.
So yeah, my honourable mentions are in no particular order, really. Splinter Cell, the games, he does the voice of Sam Fisher.
Right.
A long-running games, he's done the voice of Sam Fisher. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Just hearing his voice is just one of those kind of like, we're in safe hands here. The Machinist with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
So that was another damn good film that he's done.
It's a great film.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of weight that Christian Bale lost before in that film and then had to put it on for Batman was just ridiculous. Smallville, he played General Sam Lane.
Yep. Lois Lane's dad.
And a film called The Vagrant, which not many people would have heard of. It's a Bill Paxton film.
Right.
Where he moves into a new house and finds a vagrant living in his basement. And he then gets rid of the vagrant, but then adds more security to the house. And the vagrant comes back, and he adds more security to the house, and the vagrant comes back, and certain people start dying, and he gets to blame for it.
Oh,
really, really good film. If you got a chance to watch it, I think it's funny in places, very dark humor, but yeah, it's worth watching. So that's The Vagrant. Right. So what's number 5 on your main list?
Mine, and this could get a little controversial because this was almost my one bad.
Okay.
But it made it into my top 5, bearing in mind how much stuff. Mine is Highlander 2.
Okay. The Quickening.
The Quickening. Because he's fantastic. He's just so over the top in it. Mm-hmm. The reason it almost made my one bad is I like the film, but they really jumped the shark from the first film, didn't they?
Have you seen my copy of the Renegade version?
No.
Okay.
I might have done. I don't know.
It's a director's cut because the directors lost all rights to the film, and the studio got it all, rejigged it all, completely foobarred it, and then released it. So when they had a chance, Panzer and Davis went back with the director and just did a new Renegade edition, and it makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
it's a really
because also when
I enjoyed the film anyway, but it's a really
when
good
you
film.
watch the third film and then the fourth film, which then goes into the TV series, it sort of blows that second one, the storyline of that second one, totally out of the water.
And we don't talk about the fifth film either.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Waiting for the remake.
That was why it's sort of like I enjoy the film. Everyone camps it up so much in this.
Oh yeah,
in that
I agree.
film. But it really was, like I say, such a removal from the original. That's why it almost made it into the bad. But for Michael Ironside's role in it, he was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Completely agree.
Your number 5.
My number 5 is Sequest DSV.
Okay.
After taking over from Roy Scheider, I think you couldn't ask for anyone better to take over from him.
No. It didn't last for long.
Fantastic series. It didn't last for long, and that jumped the shark as well.
Yeah.
Let's go into the future. Okay. I enjoyed that series. I thought it was one of those series that you could sit back, watch, not have to worry about it. It was just one of those series that didn't take itself too seriously, but took itself seriously enough. You know, I think the other way of looking at it is it's a Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't absolutely fantastic, but it was a good enough series. So, okay, your number 4.
My number 4 is Top Gun.
Okay.
His role isn't massive in it, but
it's memorable.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a great little cast, great soundtrack. Okay, it's got Tom Cruise in it, but hey ho, you can't have everything. But yeah, I still enjoy the film. If I want to shut my mind off for one day or watching a film
for one day.
Yeah. Well, normally I watch.
That's how long it takes to reboot.
Then I'm asleep afterwards. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's all right. It's you can't take it too seriously. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
What about you? What's your number 4?
Starship Troopers.
Okay.
Radchek. He was just, I'm sorry, the guy was, apart from Clancy Brown, I think him and Clancy Brown were two of the most iconic roles in that film for actors that were famous before that film, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant pair of them in that film.
Controversially, it almost made my one bad.
Okay.
Not for his role in it and not for the film. It was, you could have quite easily mixed the Clancy Brown and Michael Ironside role into one.
Yeah.
There was no need for those two separate roles.
I know what you mean.
If you see what I mean.
know what you mean.
I'm glad they were both in it because I think both of them are brilliant actors. But that was the only reason it almost made my one bad. As you can see, we've been struggling with what to put as our one bad and just trying to find reasons why.
I wouldn't say I really struggled with mine. I knew which film I didn't like.
Okay, cool.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Watchers.
Okay.
It's based on a Dinar Kuntz book. It's I'm trying to describe the film without giving too much away. No, I won't bother. I won't bother saying what the film is about. But yeah, it's based on a Dinar Kuntz book, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, fair enough.
What about you? What's your number 3?
Highlander 2. The Renegade Edition more than anything. But at the end of the day, Highlander 2, full stop. We've already spoken about it. When you get Connery back, when you get Lambert back, when you get Michael Ironside as the bad guy, because you can't get Clancy Brown again. I'm sorry, that's good enough swap over there.
And Virginia Madsen.
And the soundtrack. Yeah. No, it's absolutely fantastic.
The soundtrack
film.
wasn't as good as the original, though.
It wasn't as Queeny as the original. Yes, there was a couple of Queen tracks in there, but that's not the point I'm making here. I still think the musical score was brilliant as well.
Okay.
So yeah, Highlander 2 for me is my number 3. Your number 2?
I'm still deciding. I've got 2, and these 2 are the ones that have flipped backwards and forwards time and time again. I'm going to make an executive decision now, and my number 2 is Scanners.
Okay.
It's
classic movie.
It's brilliant, and there's obviously a very iconic scene in there, the head exploding scene. And it was just, Michael Ironside was just fantastic in this. If you want to see him at his best twisted role, this is the one for you.
Early twisted role without realising how many.
He'd only done like half a dozen roles before this. But it's so good. So yeah, that's my number 2. What about you? What's yours?
Total Recall.
Okay.
It's nice to see him on the big screen. At the end of the day, he's done lots of small screen films and he's done a lot of direct to DVD films, and to see him on screen in a big role after my favourite, it was good to see him. So yeah, Total Recall is my second favourite. And your number 1, Trevor. I don't know if it's going to be the same as mine. I'm not sure.
Feeling we may have the same one.
You reckon it might be the same one again? This is 2 weeks in a row. We might have the same number 1. How many letters in the title?
Just the one.
Just the one.
Mine was
it is
a very nostalgic TV series for me when I was a kid, and that's V.
Absolutely. That is my number 1 choice as well.
I thought yours might be as well. But it was so ahead of its time when it came out. Everyone was talking about it at school. It was the talk of the playground in the school.
Yeah.
The makeup special effects of the aliens was groundbreaking at the time almost. But yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
The combination between the alien visitors and the World War II Nazi scenario, I think, was a great element to it.
But if you think about it, those giant spaceships, the giant UFOs appearing over like these massive cityscapes, was something brand new then. And how many times has it been used since then? For alien invasions, it's sort of like it's always a massive UFO
Independence
hovering over. Exactly. So yeah, it all started from this.
The mini series original, the 3-episode final battle, and then into the actual TV series itself, which I think Michael Ironside only did 2 or 3 episodes for. Should have come back for the final episode, but they never actually recorded it. He is Ham Tyler. In any other film that I've seen him in, even in this, you can see Ham Tyler in Total Recall. And it's just, exactly. I love the character, and I love his acting, and I love that series so much.
Most of the time, he's always playing a bad guy, a grumpy old bad guy. But in this, he's a good guy, but his persona is of a grumpy bad guy. And yeah, it's just fantastic. It's just so iconic. Even now, just talking about it, I can picture so many sort of like scenes, sort of like where they always used to do a freeze frame at the end.
Yeah.
And
it was always the ship coming down the canyon.
Yeah. Or
the face being peeled off.
The
jaw opening up with the hamster.
Exactly. Yep. And the alien baby being born.
Yeah. The second one.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's just iconic moments like that just sort of like jump into your head straight away. Sort of now, okay, it can look dated, some of the special effects.
Yes.
But of its time, if you go back to when that was made, it was fantastic. So good.
At the end of the day as well, Mr. Robert Englund.
Yes.
Was another early role for him as well in that series.
Yeah.
You know, I think some of the actors in there have gone on to do so much more stuff, and at the end of the day, it's just above my head is a signed photograph of Robert Englund and Michael Ironside from V. I don't think you could catch that lightning in a bottle again. They tried, don't get me wrong. I think, you know, there's ideas of how to do a better version of what they tried to do, the remake.
Yeah, the remake was okay, but it, like you say, the wow factor of it wasn't there with the new series. I hated that they left it on a massive cliffhanger and then just cancelled. A
massive cliffhanger, bringing in some of the original cast as well.
Yeah. But it was I just don't think it was as groundbreaking when they released it. It's sort of like, what can we re-release? What can we remake? And
let's try this.
Let's try this. And
it succeeded for 2 series, and Marina Baccaram was really good.
Yeah.
And obviously Jane Badler coming in back in the second series as being her mother.
Yeah,
sorry, we've gone definitely on a V tangent.
Yeah, let's stop that now. Let's stop that. Let's get back to what we were doing.
Should we do a V special at some point, maybe?
Oh, God.
I think we could talk about it for hours.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, well, we could do, because they're both there's a remake for it. So there you go, Trev. We'll think about that one.
We're a movie podcast. If we start doing TV remakes, we're never gonna have a real life, mate.
No, I know. Right, so here's the one for us. What is your bad movie?
Right.
I know it's very difficult to find a bad movie with him in it.
I think he's actually really good in this, but the movie is awful, and that is The Next Karate Kid.
Yes, that was going to be on my list, but I found one that I do know that, in my opinion, is worse than that.
Okay.
But yes, no, Next Karate Kid, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, obviously the only main character was Pat Morita coming back
Mr.
in.
Miyagi.
But it was, the storyline was just awful. And Michael Ironside was just playing Michael Ironside. His usual bad guy, leader of people role. Yeah, it was just not a very good film.
No. Ralph Macchio left. We know that. They had to replace, and we had to find out who was going to be the next Karate Kid. And yeah, it was just, no.
No, definitely not.
No.
So what about you?
I'm going to be controversial. It's a film that was in your top 5. And
it's Top Gun.
I just hate it. Yes, it's Top Gun. It's not, I don't know what it is about the film. I think Michael Ironside's great in it. I think it's got some nice action sequences, but I'm not a fan of the film. The last time I watched it, so Sheena and I were having a discussion, and she said, "Oh, yeah, Top Gun. It's not a bad film. I enjoyed that." I went, "No, it's a terrible film." She said, maybe you should rewatch it." I went, "All right, fair enough." So we sat down, rewatched it. I'm half an hour into the film. I look over at her. She's asleep. I'm sitting there going, why the hell am I watching this crap? Yet I still watched the entire bloody film. I didn't stop it. I just carried it on. And no, it's not as good as what I was thinking. Don't get me wrong. The sequel, I liked Maverick. I enjoyed that film. And there's a lot of the original film in that film. It's almost exactly a shot for shot. But for some reason, it's better than the original Top Gun film. I don't know why.
Because it's more an action film, the remake, than a love story.
It may be that, but I just found the original one just didn't hit me in the right spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, so my one bad is Top Gun.
No, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
So yeah, on that fun and games bombshell.
Yep.
So we're on to our next episodes coming up, and it's heading towards that festive time of year. So where we go lighthearted, and we usually record either a Christmas film or a film for all the family.
A family.
So what's coming up then, Trev?
We have...
I know we don't usually do this, but what's coming up, Trev?
We have Karate Kid.
Yep, with one of your favourite actors in it.
Yeah. I've got a feeling I know who's going to be getting the worst actor Oscar off of me again.
What,
maybe
the Trevi?
Years on the trot.
It's not an Oscar, Trev. It's a Trevi.
It's a Trevi, yeah. And then we've got Miracle on 34th Street, which should be interesting because
I've never seen either of them.
No, exactly the same, which means I've got to start watching Christmas films in the beginning of, what are we now, November?
It's November, yeah.
Yeah, so 8 weeks before Christmas, I've got to start watching Christmas films, which I hate doing.
We've done that before. We did that last year, Trevor.
Yes. So, especially as I haven't watched either of them before, I hope I enjoy at least one of them, because otherwise it's going to be such a chore. But yes, that's what's coming up. That should sum up our 2025. And we've already got our full list of 2026 movies. But I think we should wrap this one up.
Sounds good to me. It's good to speak to you again as usual, mate.
You too, my friend.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to follow, like and subscribe. Where can they get hold of us, Trev?
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Blue Sky. Just go to @TheDejaReview or contact us via our email, which is thedejareview@gmail.com.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Trev.
Enjoy yourselves.
We know him from RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Hollow Man, and Basic Instinct. I knew I was going to get that word wrong as soon as I said. And Basic Instinct. Oh, fuck's sake. It's
Trevor can't say something.
What was that production company that I couldn't get right before? United Artists. Let's see, I can get it right.
You got that one right.
Yeah, right. And Basic Instinct.